to beginning to explain the law of four to someone who's never heard of it before. No pun intended.
Generally speaking, it's with the very common examples that they're going to be aware of right away. 4 seasons, 4 directions. Kind of an intro to it, and then from there, take it in a little further. Start to drill down at that point.
Yeah, that's an excellent place to start. But how do you get to 4 seasons?
That is.
Why aren't there 2? Why isn't there 1?
It's a good question.
The most fundamental place to start is the law of 2. Anytime the law of 2 intersects with an expression of itself, in other words, this way, intersects with the law of 2, an expression of itself going in a different direction, you get the law of 4. And as you'll see later, the law of 6 and the law of 8. So 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, so let's draw it out. You start with a bar like this, and you say hot and cold. Okay, now hot and cold are 2 aspects of the same thing. It forms a bar, and it's kind of relevant, isn't it? I mean, you can have the burner on your stove on, which would be freezing cold compared to the temperature of the sun, wouldn't it? You see how that is? All right, so they're not really opposites. They're a bar. It's a bar of expression given the context of something. Really, it's an indicator in this scenario, if you're talking about substances, it's an indicator of how much molecular movement is going on in something. I mean, I presume, right, if there's a absolute 0, there must be an absolute hot. I don't think something could.
You'd have thought so.
Absolute 0. Yeah, you would think so, right? There must be a point where past plasma, where it's no longer possible to get more. Dry and wet. All right. Hot, cold, dry, wet. These are 2 forces crossing each other, and they're a very good starting place to be able to explain how the law of 2 creates a result. Because you understand, without some other way to interpret it, hot and cold has no meaning in its own self. You can go to the infinite bars of absolute 0 and absolute hot, if there is such a thing. You can go to the infinite bars of dry, absolute dry, and absolute wet, which really just has to do with the shear point of something.
Right.
Shear point?
The shear point, okay? You take a glass of water has basically no shear point. You pour it into a cup, okay? And you pour it into another cup, and you can put it into a cube or a square. It always just kind of conforms. But if you take a block of ice and you try and stuff it into a cup, it's going to have to break. Wherever it breaks, that's its shear point. See, water doesn't do that. So hot and cold are an expression of molecular movement in something. Wet and dry are the expression of its shear point, its ability to conform to something. Okay. Now, Ion, you started off talking about the 4 seasons. Hot and dry, summer. Dry and cold, autumn, wouldn't it be? Hot and wet, spring.
Summer. Or spring, rather. Yes.
Yep. And dry and cold, winter. That's how you get into the 4 seasons, by explaining when 2 aspects of the law of 2 intersect one another. So then what did we talk about? We talked about we'll leave the hot, cold, wet, dry in place, but this time we'll put serpent and bull, eagle, and lion.
Yeah.
What do those mean? What do those mean? You need to get to the point where you understand hot, cold, wet, dry is symbolic of something. I mean, you can take this aspect and apply it to anything, can't you?